New layers of the Aaron Rodgers sagas have been peeled back, and it's painting a picture that's very different from what many thought. For a while, Steelers fans were in the dark, wondering what was really happening behind the scenes. Why? The team was so patient. Why they let the quarterback carousel spin while other franchises made their moves? But now we know. From the moment Pittsburgh began evaluating their roster after the end of the 2024 season, Rodgers' name was already circulating inside those closed-door meetings. Russell Wilson? That chapter was done. And although they liked Justin Fields, it was clear that they weren't ready to hand him the keys to the franchise. What Pittsburgh was trying to do was simple, really. They were willing to bring Fields back on a backup-level deal. Something that wouldn't lock them in. Something that gave them flexibility. If Fields had taken that offer, the plan was to bring in another veteran quarterback to compete with him for the starting job. Rodgers might have been that guy, but the truth is, the Steelers never saw Fields as the guy. Not yet. They didn't believe he had earned that title, and they weren't going to pay him like a franchise quarterback just to satisfy potential. So, when the New York Jets came in and offered him $20 million a year and promised him the starting role, that was game over. Fields was headed to New York, and let's be honest, if you're not willing to pay a young quarterback what the market demands, that's usually a sign that you're not sold on him. Meanwhile, as all that was going on, Pittsburgh quietly explored other avenues. They checked in with the Los Angeles Rams about Matthew Stafford, but they quickly realized that Stafford had no real interest in leaving LA. At that point, Rodgers became the primary focus. They liked the idea of bringing in a proven veteran, someone who had been there, done that, and could elevate the offense immediately. And once it became clear that Fields wasn't going to accept their lowball offer, the Steelers went all in on Rodgers. The conversations with his camp ramped up, and while the fan base was still arguing about whether Fields should be given a shot, the front office had already moved on. Now, according to reporting from Sports Illustrated, Pittsburgh's internal evaluation of Rodgers during the 2024 season brought back some encouraging results. The team recognized that his performance was hampered by a torn Achilles and then a hamstring injury that followed. But even through all of that, they saw enough flashes to convince themselves that Rodgers still had it. They compared what they saw with his 2022 numbers in Green Bay, and frankly, there wasn't much drop-off considering everything he was dealing with. He looked like a guy who could still sling it given the right support system. Think about it. Since his MVP campaign in 2021, Rodgers hasn't had a clean bill of health. In 2022, during that game in London against the Giants, he broke his thumb on his throwing hand and kept playing. That led to some rough outings and a 5-game skid in the middle of the season. But once he started healing up, the Packers finished strong, winning 4 of their last 5 and nearly sneaking into the postseason. And that was without Davante Adams, his go-to target for years. Then in 2023, he tears his Achilles 4 plays into the season, barely even got started. Fast forward to 2024, and while he was technically back on the field, he was clearly still rehabbing and playing through discomfort. Add to that a Jets team in complete disarray. No consistent run game, coaching changes mid-season, and a defense that underperformed massively despite the hype. And you start to understand why Rodgers didn't look like himself. So yeah, skeptics will argue that he's old, that he's fragile, that it's been 3 seasons since we've seen the best version of Aaron Rodgers. And they're not wrong. At 41 years old, those injuries are harder to bounce back from. But here's the catch. If Rodgers stays healthy, and that's a big if, he can still play at a high level. The Steelers believe it, and their actions prove it. According to reports, Rodgers stayed in regular communication with head coach Mike Tomlin and new offensive coordinator Arthur Smith. They trusted him. He trusted them. That mutual respect allowed both sides to ignore all the noise and speculation swirling around while the media and fans were obsessing over every rumor, and every delay the Steelers stayed calm. They had Rodgers on the hook, and more importantly, they felt like he was fully committed. He wasn't stringing them along, he wasn't playing games, he was letting them know straight up that he wanted to be a Steeler. That confidence allowed Pittsburgh to remain patient, to not panic when other teams made flashy moves. And that patience paid off. Rodgers signed a deal with just $10 million guaranteed, with the potential to earn up to $20 million through incentives. For a quarterback of his caliber, that's a bargain. We're talking about a top 10 quarterback in NFL history. You can debate where exactly he ranks, but you can't deny the resume. One of the big reasons Pittsburgh was willing to wait on Rodgers was Arthur Smith's relationship with two of Rodgers' most recent play callers, Matt LaFleur from Green Bay and Todd Downing from New York. Both had previously worked with Smith when they were all on the staff in Tennessee, and their evaluations of Rodgers very positive. They described him as a football genius, someone who could thrive in a system that played to his strengths. Smith's offense is not an exact replica of LaFleur's, but it shares key elements. Heavy use of play action, under center snaps, and an emphasis on attacking the middle of the field. Those are areas where Rodgers has historically excelled. Remember, the last time Rodgers had full command of an offense like that, he won back-to-back MVPs. Now, no one's saying he's going to replicate that in Pittsburgh, but the system fits him. He knows it. He's comfortable in it, and he's motivated. That's a dangerous combination for opposing defenses. And how about this for trust? Despite all the leaks and speculation across the league, the Steelers and Rodgers managed to keep the real story quiet. That doesn't happen often in today's NFL, and it speaks volumes about the relationship they've already built. Both sides stayed silent, didn't feel the need to correct every rumor or deny every report. They stayed focused on the goal, getting Rodgers in black and gold. Tuesday's when everything becomes official. Rodgers will take the field for the first time with his new teammates at the Steelers' mandatory minicamp. Photos, videos, and the buzz will be everywhere. But one small detail that might go unnoticed is that he'll be sporting a brand new helmet. His old model, the Shut Air XP Pro Q11, has been banned by the league, so he's got a decision to make. His two options: the Shut F7 or the Vichy 02. The F7 isn't commonly worn by quarterbacks, but guys like Drake May and Andy Dalton use it. The INKS, on the other hand, is favored by stars like Patrick Mahomes and was also used by Russell Wilson. Interestingly, Rodgers himself invested in INKS a few years ago. He even wore one of their helmets during a State Farm commercial. But despite that connection, he's gone on record saying that if he can wear a Shut helmet, he will. So if we're putting money on it, expect him to show up in that F7 model. And this is just the beginning. The Rodgers era in Pittsburgh is about to officially begin, and there's a buzz in the air. Love it or hate it, the Steelers made their decision. They went after their guy. They waited him out, and now he's in the building. Whether it ends in glory or disaster is anyone's guess. But one thing's for sure, they weren't dragged into this blindly. They did their homework. They made calculated moves. And they believe they've still got something left in Aaron Rodgers' arm that can change the game. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In what could be one of the most unexpected twists of the NFL offseason, rumors are beginning to circulate that Joe Burrow may have found a new home in Pittsburgh. According to sources close to the situation, the star quarterback is reportedly set to sign a 3-year deal with the Steelers, sending shockwaves through the AFC North and the entire football world. While no official announcement has been made, whispers out of Pittsburgh suggest that negotiations have been ongoing behind closed doors and that both sides have reached a verbal agreement. If true, this would mark a stunning departure from Burrow's tenure with the Cincinnati Bengals, the team that drafted him #1 overall in 2020 and where he quickly became the face of the franchise. Injuries and contract tensions may have played a role in his potential exit, though nothing has been confirmed. For the Steelers, the acquisition of Burrow would signal a bold new era. The franchise has been searching for a long-term answer at quarterback since the retirement of Ben Roethlisberger. Despite the development of Kenny Pickett and the brief experiment with veterans like Mitch Trubisky, no one has truly claimed the position as their own. Bringing in Burrow, assuming the rumors prove true, would instantly make the Steelers a serious contender, not only in the division, but across the AFC. What makes the possibility even more dramatic is the rivalry aspect. Burrow joining the Steelers would add a fiery new layer to the already heated Bengals-Steelers clashes. Pittsburgh fans are buzzing at the idea. while Cincinnati supporters are left stunned at the thought of their franchise QB suiting up in black and gold. At this point, all eyes are on the Steelers front office and Burrow's camp. Could this really be happening? Is Joe Burrow about to become the new leader of the Terrible Towels? Until there's official confirmation, it remains speculation. But in the NFL, where smoke often leads to fire, the possibility is enough to keep everyone talking. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.